Part of the Answer, the show where you get a peek inside the minds of some of Chicagoland's best and brightest business leaders. Hear the success stories behind their companies and get to know them inside and outside of the boardroom. No press releases, no sound bites. Just an authentic conversation that explores from the moment their business was conceived to the vision for its future. Now, here's your host, Ken Severa.
AM 560, The Answer. This is Part of the Answer. I'm your host, Ken Severa. We have a studio loaded with talent this evening. We have a couple of great bands. We have Ted Putbris from a great band called the Thaddeus Project. We have Paul Bolger from a great group called Mr. Blotto. And we have a promoter, Ron Onesti, who will be with us in just a moment here. On May 25th at 7 p.m., there is going to be a great musical event highlighting some of Chicago's great bands. The name of the event is the Nightsphear Grand Finale, and it will be held at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, Illinois. And let's get to the promoter of this great event right now, Ron Onesti. Ron, how are you?
Kenny, how's everything going, all right?
Hey, everything's going very well, Paisano.
Paisano. It's good to talk to another Italian, especially this early in the morning.
That's exactly right.
Before noon.
The sauce is cooking, my friend.
Right.
Let's talk about this great event that's happening on May 25th.
Well, you know, Ken, it's an amazing thing about Chicago. You know, we talk about New York, you talk about Las Vegas, you talk about L.A., but Chicago is definitely a center of incredible talent, incredible musical entertainment, and superstars within our own boundaries. And just with the people alone that you have in your studio, bands like Fire the Cannon, bands like the Thaddeus Project, of course, a tremendous legendary band in Chicago and the Midwest, Mr. Blotto. These are true talents with exciting shows that are going to be joining with some of these other great entertainers around the city that have been, and the suburbs that have been coming together and really showcasing what they have to offer. And this event we are so excited about because, as you know, at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, we have over 200 shows a year with the biggest names of in entertainment. But when you get this kind of down-home Chicago talent, that excites me the most. And on May 25th, it's going to be the best of Chicago entertainment on our historic stage.
Absolutely. And we were talking before, about how Chicago has always relinquished its power to both coasts. Even in the early days of my comedy career, it was they had a William Morris office here, but it always seemed like Chicago was controlled by New York and Los Angeles. And I have never understood that. I think what you guys are doing is fantastic because you're really bringing Chicago talent to the forefront. And we don't need to be the second city anymore. There's too much talent here.
Well, the industry politics, like every industry's got its politics, and industry politics really goes from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's for sure. But the heart and soul of the industry comes from the South, comes from the Midwest, you talk about, where's Motown at? It's in the Midwest. You're talking about the blues, South to Midwest. You're talking about, all the real music with heart.
Absolutely, not to forget jazz, because the Mississippi River was obviously the hub for all good jazz as it came up from New Orleans. We had St. Louis, Chicago, Minneapolis. Those are all great jazz cities. Absolutely, and even we could spend days, not hours, but days on the debate about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I talk to somebody about this every day, one way or the other. Are you for it, against it? Who should be in it? Who should not be in it? That in and of itself is another show for you. But it's still, this year, Trick, Chicago, they're finally realizing that, hey, the music from Chicago, the music from the Midwest, Rockford and such, is really heart and soul. So that's what Nightsphear is all about. You got these people that are passionate. They're not making $1 million a year doing it. They're doing it. They're doing it because they love it. They're doing it because they have passion. And when they get on stage, you get a band like Fire the Cannon, for example. Look at those young musicians. The talent is crazy. And the scariest thing about that band is that they're just beginning their careers. 5 years, 10 years, 2 years. It's going to be incredible.
a band like Mr. Blotto, I mean, if you've never been to a Mr. Blotto show, you've truly missed out on an opportunity to totally allow the music to embody the music. You know what I'm saying? It's a party. It's a lot of fun. And all these great bands, you know, they come together. They're going to be coming together on this stage where some of the biggest names in showbiz have appeared. That in and of itself is going to feed their fire. And it's going to be a show like none other. I mean, it really, really is. I can't tell you how excited I am to be a small part of this thing.
Where can our listeners get information and tickets for the show?
Well, go to oshows.com. That's the letter O, shows.com, our website. And you can pick up tickets, more information. And once again, it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be looking at, and not only to be entertained, but also as a resource for bringing some of these entertainers to their festivals, to their clubs, to their special events. It's going to be a great networking event for everybody in the music and entertainment industry.
Absolutely. You know, it used to be in the 60s and early 70s where they said Chicago had a very distinctive sound, that the bands in this area were producing a very memorable sound, a sound that you could identify. And hopefully through projects like this, we're going to get the Chicago music scene really flying again, and flying to the point where we're not relinquishing our power to the coasts, that we're containing it within the walls of the city, and sending out great bands like Thaddeus Project, Mr. Blotto, Fire the Cannon, all of these great bands that are coming out of this city right now. And I really applaud you for doing this. This has taken a huge step in the right direction. We also have Michelle Abrams in studio, and we have Daniel and Marty, the T10 partners, the creator and executive producers of the Nightsphear Grand Finale. Now, Ron, you just also had an anniversary. I think you've celebrated over 3 decades of entertainment for the Onesti Entertainment. Congratulations.
Yeah, you know, it's cool. It's 10 years where I have my 10th anniversary for the Arcata Theater. It's our 30th anniversary of being in business, and it's our 90th anniversary of being at for the Arcata being consistently going as a theater. And it's been a great ride, and we've got a lot of things happening too. You know, I'm really excited to work with groups like T-10 Productions, who've really, I mean, this is their baby, this is their brainchild.
Right.
They have ate, drank, and slept this event. And I'm telling you, what they're putting into it and their production capabilities, I'm telling you, with us together, it's going to be something that you're rarely going to see anywhere.
Well, on top of everything else, and talent certainly the main part of it, they're also very nice people, which is, a pleasure in this business.
Well, that I have to beg to differ.
Wait a minute.
I really don't like them very much, but no, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody just got to come out and experience this thing. And if for no other reason, if you're not in the mood to be entertained, if you're not in the mood to hear music, if for no other reason, if you believe in live music, supporting live music, you got to be there for these kinds of events, and that's why we're doing it.
You better believe it. Well, listen, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate you being here today, and we will get everybody out to the Arcata Theater on Wednesday, the 25th of May at 7 p.m. to see the Nightsphear Grand Finale. What a great, great event this is going to be. I'm excited about it. I'm going to be there, and we will see you there, Ron.
Great, Kenny. I love your show. Listen all the time. You really have a way of getting some of the movers and shakers in the industries on there. It's very interesting. So I wish you the best, and thanks for being a part of Nightsphear.
Hey, buddy, anytime, anything you need, I'm here for you.
I need $20 till Tuesday.
Okay. All right, I'll put it in the mail when I leave. Again. All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Now, Michelle, let's talk about how you guys, and we also have Marty over there, or Daniel, I'm sorry. Daniel over there, and he's in the corner, and he's very shy, and he doesn't want to, but let's talk about how you guys got this whole thing together. It's fascinating.
Well, actually, Ted would be able to answer that better.
Yeah, how did this whole project come about?
Well, with Thaddeus Project, we've been getting a lot of radio play all over the place, and we put out several albums, and everything was happening out of L.A., and we were, Glenn Forrest and myself, my co-songwriter, we were performing little places here and there, little gigs here and there, just trying things out. And we wanted to break back into Chicago because we're from here. And we've been in bands as kids, through the years and so forth. And here we are.
Well, let's hold that until after the break. My name is Ken Severa. The show is Part of the Answer, and we will be right back after these vital capitalistic messages. Stay with us. Hey.
And now, more of AM 560's Part of the Answer, a behind-the-scenes look at some of Chicago's most successful businesses. Once again, here's your host, Ken Severa.
River town, it's not like me. Say to you, let it go free. It's not like you say to me, come on boy, let it be. Yeah. Some say that it was awful, some say it's just a shame. Like standing in the front door, no one left knows your name. Though my eyes were open, blinded by the tears, sitting there in River Town, rolling through the years, waiting for you in River Town, running out of time, waiting for you in River Town, always, all night.
And that is Rivertown by the Thaddeus Project, and you will see them along with Mr. Blotto and a lot of other great bands Wednesday, May 25th at the Nightsphear Grand Finale being held at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles. It starts at 7 p.m. Be there. And also Fire the Cannon. There's so much talent in the studio today, I don't even know what to do. We are talking to Ted from Thaddeus Project, and we were talking about how you guys got your start.
Well, we got our start about 15 years ago, and Rivertown, which you just played, was a song that was very appealing to people, very radio-friendly, and we won some awards with that on a national basis out of L.A. through Independent Music Network, because we are an independent label.
Uh-huh.
And we were trying to figure out a way, coming from here, we had the constraints of raising families and everything else, and typically a band, that has some success has to get out of Chicago to try to make something happen. So
same thing for comedy, same thing for all forms of entertainment. We talk about having to go to the coasts.
Exactly. Yeah. So we met up with Danny LaBelle and Marty from T-Minus 10 Partners, and we started doing some small gigs. Glenn and I were an acoustic act at the time about 3.5 years ago, and we had a couple combos through the years as, we put out our albums, but we really streamlined it because we were the songwriters. And what we wanted to do is find a way to break into Chicago. And Danny came up with this concept, Nightsphear, that I bought into. And what we started doing is like, we've talked about before, Ken, between you and I, Nightsphear is a way to bring talent to the table, producers, engineers, all sorts of different people from Chicago in an open stage type of venue to promote some kind of originality here in Chicago, create a new scene. And we primarily did it, not only to help other artists, but to help ourselves actually break into Chicago and be able to play the likes of the Arcada Theater May 25th and continue our careers here and build up a market here in Chicago.
You talk about marriage and all these other things that break up bands. Egos break up bands too, but it seems like both of your bands have been able to get over that. You know, you've been together for a long time, and it seems like you both have great working relationships with the members of your band. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Glenn and I mean, we're a little bit older. We've been around the block a few times, and Glenn and I go back to when we were 13 years old. And what's ironic is our current drummer I've known since fourth grade, and our bass player, I've never played in a band with him, but I've known Jeff since freshman high school. So we go way the heck back.
Sure.
And this is our third combo under the quote-unquote Thaddeus Project name. And this band is just unique. And when we get together, you know, it's like high school kids getting together again. It keeps us young, and we have a chemistry, which Mr. Blotto has, incidentally, also.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you guys, I want to direct this question to Michelle also. You know, it is so hard today, I think, to make it either in the comedy business or in the radio business because everything is so fragmented. You know, we were talking about that in the back room, that whether it be television, whether it be radio, everything is chopped up into a million pieces right now. So what is the secret to being able to market yourselves and to attain that audience? George Carlin said to me, if you can just get 1% of the American population, you're a multimillionaire. If they follow you, if they buy your, you know, CDs and all of that other stuff. So what do you have to do to overcome the fragmentation?
Well, as Ted and Danny and, you know, people like Paul and Mr. Blotto, all those great bands have said to the, you know, Fire the Cannon over and over again, just keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Don't stop. Get out there, play every chance you get to play.
Right.
And try to market yourself, you know, get your friends together. Social media is huge today with everything. If you can, you know, record a song, get it out on social media, and people hear it automatically. It's not like you have to stand outside the radio station like you had to do way back in the day, holding your record and praying that a program director was going to walk by.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Now it's a matter of sending someone a link and saying, hey, take a listen.
Yeah.
But really, like Thaddeus Project and, you know, T-10, the Arcada Theater, they've been so supportive of these up-and-coming artists and just giving them a platform and a place to play. That alone is huge because there's a lot of places that don't want to take on new artists. They don't want to hear, especially original. They don't want to take the chance on originality.
Right.
Everyone wants to hear cover songs all the time. So it becomes very tedious for an up-and-coming band who's very creative and actually has that talent, because they feel like they just get stuck and they can't get out of the garage or they can't get out of the basement. And Nightsphear and O shows, you know, Ron Onesti, everybody has given, you know, so many bands like APS one season, Fire the Cannon, and so many more this awesome opportunity to put their music out there.
Yeah, this is a major event beyond just a major event. This is starting something. This is really cultivating, and it's. I wish you all so much success with this thing. It just sounds like on May 25th, this is just going to be the greatest thing on earth. Let's talk about T-10 for a while. How these guys are relatively new to Chicago?
They've been around for a couple years in one form or another, but relatively new. Bringing this idea to the platform is relatively new. They've been able to, you know, be kind of the incubator to cultivate a lot of good music, a lot of original music, bringing everybody together, working with people like Andrew Salgado, for example, bringing him into things. I mean, that helped open the doors for a lot of people as well. My daughter, for example, just the advice that you get from someone like Andrew Salgado, who's been on stage and played huge shows, to give to, you know, a young and up-and-coming band, just little tidbits of advice here and there can mean a world of difference whenever you're on stage.
Absolutely. So, Fire the Cannon, let's talk about them.
Okay.
How did they originate? When did they start?
About a year ago, a friend of mine that I had worked with, his son had a band, and my daughter was a vocalist, and his son's band's lead singer had quit, and so they needed somebody. So we went out and auditioned, and Fire the Cannon was born. And they've been playing wherever they can, whenever they can, and now they've got a couple original songs. They're going to be releasing an album in June, and you know, just being able to play and all the great advice has just been a part of fostering all of this to bring it to where it's at.
Sure. Absolutely, and it just sounds like this whole thing is more like a movement as opposed to just a concert. And wouldn't you agree, Paul?
Yeah, you know, I think that the Midwest and Chicago in particular fosters a community vibe between bands. And this is indicative of that we get bands together that aren't necessarily competing or trying to outdo each other. It's just like a community vibe. And that's what I don't see the coasts having. I mean, it's all music, and we love all of it. We love all our fellow artists.
Mitzi Shore at the Comedy Store used to call the Chicago comedians the Mafia because we would get in, and then we bring up the next Chicago guy.
Right.
So we were known in Los Angeles as the Mafia.
And then he becomes a made comic.
Then
you can't touch him. You laugh at those jokes, jackass.
Hey, sometimes the guy has a bad set. You gotta whack him. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Two to the head. Two to the back of
Take
the
the
head.
cannolis.
Exactly. So how did Mr. Blotto get going? You guys, just like Thaddeus Project, what great bands.
Yeah, we won $500 million in the lotto and decided to play until the money ran out.
There you go.
Thank God.
We're going to be an original band until the $500 million runs out. And we're almost done, so we need a new plan.
You guys have been partying, man.
Yeah.
Listen, let's pick this up right after the break. My name is Ken Severa. The show is part of the answer, and we will be right back after these very important messages. Don't go anywhere. Plenty of show left.
You're listening to AM 560's Part of the Answer, an authentic conversation with some of Chicagoland's best and brightest business leaders. Here's your host, Ken Severa.
Pull over, bear. We're handing over bundles, and it's raining out my leg again. History will show you they bone you like they own you, and now there's nothing left to say. The fortress was strong and alive. Never be that weak. A fortune is gone. Like a life, it's not gonna turn a changing hand.
And that is Mr. Blotto's song, Solomon's Gold. What a great tune, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so for those who have not been, seen a Mr. Blotto show, describe your music.
Well, I mean, it's based in like blues and Americana stuff, and also jam band stuff. So it's like that classic jazz motif where you take a theme and then you play it and then you expand on it improvisationally as a group.
Sure.
And then you come back to the theme at the end.
Yeah, right.
So from a songwriting standpoint, so you do a verse, chorus, bridge, and then you improvise, and it could go a minute, could go 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's different every night, and then you come back to the chorus and you get out. So it's like, we care a great deal about sound. We carry a sound system around whenever we need to, and low lows, clean highs. We're like flat system. We're like,
and
like
people don't understand how important that is. The artist understands.
It's easy to be loud,
but and I'm sure guys like Ron and Esty, T-10, they, Michelle, they all get it. They get it.
But early on in your path, you realize that you can be really loud, and you think that's the thing. It's not about being loud. Anybody can be loud. You got to be clear. It has to cover the whole theater.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The side of the balcony. It can't be blowing the people in front away just to be loud in the back. So there's a whole scientific thing.
And that's the thing. Even with comedy, people don't understand if you're in a room with a very high ceiling, how that sound bounces off the top. And you really need to just kind of, try to restrict yourself to venues that understand once you're at the positions you guys are at.
I noticed that comedians do a hard S. Their S's sometimes are hard when they deliver their S. And I think it's from being in clubs where they have terrible sound systems and stuff. But if you're not understood by your audience, you're dead. If they don't understand my words, I still rock, right?
Right?
If they don't understand your concept you're laying out, then you're done.
It's the you suck productions.
But there's no S, so it'd be you look.
But the comic clears it up. I suck.
I suck. So anyway, there I was.
You have a great thing that you guys are working with, and it kind of ties into this whole idea. You have a place called The Wire.
Wire. No, just Wire.
No, Wire.
How dare you?
Wire.
How dare you?
No,
everyone does it because of that TV show. But yeah, Wire. Wire is I have 3 partners, and we all own this place called Wire in Berwyn on Roosevelt Road, and it's a live music venue, 400 capacity venue, 25-foot high ceiling,
right?
Beautiful sound system,
yes.
Custom design. It's a bar. In the back is our music school, Rock University,
yes.
which I run. Going in soon upstairs is a recording studio.
Oh my God!
So we're going to be like the
great.
fully functional Death Star.
Wow,
we'll have it all.
Wow. So how do new guys get into this? I mean, in other words, some musicians hearing this right now and they're going, "Wow, I got to get in touch with Paul."
wireismusic.com is our site, and everything's there. You can access the school, you can access lessons, you can access the booking to book stuff. We're going to book something, like what we're doing at the Arcada Theater. We're going to bring that in hopefully in the fall. And do a big show there, but it's like you can get involved if you want to teach there. You can contact us and
this is
teach. You can learn. You can learn as an adult. You can learn from guys that are big in the jam band scene are teaching there.
Right.
So if you see somebody out of the bar, you're like, oh, I wish I could play mandolin like that.
Sure.
You can go take a lesson from that guy at Wire. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is incredible. I mean, this is like the birth of this enormous movement coming out of Chicago, which I could not be happier about. This is, you've got to go out and see these great bands, Thaddeus Project, Mr. Blotto. We also have, Fire the Cannon, which I'm very anxious to hear. We're going to play some of their stuff on the next break. We've got all these great bands. The Arcada Theater, Wednesday, May 25th at 7 p.m. it starts. And this is the Nightsphear grand finale. And you guys have got to go out and see this show. It is going to be incredible. Let's put our pride, our Chicago pride on the line and go out and see these guys and support our Chicago musicians, because we've always listened to this about New York and L.A., and we have an enormous abundance of talent in this town. So we want you guys to call the Arcada Theater and get on the website and get going. Go buy a ticket. It's Wednesday, May 25th, 7 p.m., and we are going to be out there rocking. I'm going to be there. We are going to be out there with Michelle Abrams and Ted and Paul and Daniel and everybody else, and we're going to be having a fantastic time. My name is Ken Severa. The show is part of The Answer, and we're going to be right back after these vital messages. Remember, May 25th, Arcada Theater, 7 p.m. Get your tickets now. They didn't pay for reverb.
I'll be your reverb.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Paul.
Thank you.
I'm the luckiest
man
in the world.
In the world. Lou Gehrig.
Now, back to Part of the Answer on AM 560. A peek inside the minds behind some of the most successful businesses in Chicagoland. Now, here's your host, Ken Severa.
Not a high school loser, I'm in this cool band. Yes, we're rocking the world. Yes, we're rocking the land. You won't be disappointed by my good looks and my skill. Or my guitar playing, surely paying the bills. Oh, sweet like sugar, you're the girl I've ever seen. She gave me a number on the back of my
That is Donut Girl by Fire the Cannon, and they will be one of the acts that you're going to be seeing at the Nightsphear Grand Finale Wednesday, the 25th of May at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles. And to get your tickets, you go on oshows.com. That's oshows.com. You're going to be able to see the Thaddeus Project, Mr. Blotto, Fire the Cannon, and Fire the Cannon. That is a great song, Donut Girl, Michelle. This is your daughter.
Yeah, it's my daughter, and it's Andrew.
She's awesome.
It's Andrew Gallagher and Ryan Gallagher and Ryan King, Tristan Abrams. A bunch of high school kids. Donut Girl came about whenever I our guitarist went to the donut shop to get some donuts, and a girl put her number on the back of the receipt, and he didn't realize it until he walked out. Tried to call the number. She did not call back. Turns out that her phone had died or something along those lines. It was broken. She did come to a show finally, but she had a boyfriend, so kind of broke his heart. So yeah. So Donut Girl, that's where the song came from. But I just want to thank, like Thaddeus Project, Mr. Blotto, T-10, Ron at O Shows, APS, all these bands, One Season, Andrew Salgado. I mean, these guys are just, this platform has given these kids not only a musical platform, but a good platform for good business sense. This business is very hard to navigate.
Yes.
And these kids, they make all the business decisions on their own, what to play, where to play. It's just amazing the education, the real world education that they're getting as a part of this business. And I know T-10 has fostered a lot of entrepreneurial, relationships and businesses that are from the ground up. I know, like, Your Elegant Occasions and Altan Everything, they've been sponsors of a lot of events for T-, and just the overall fostering of business and making a way for yourself through the world is, the support is tremendous. Like Paul was saying, it's really a community effort.
Right.
It's great.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And we had a gentleman on a couple of weeks ago who wrote a book about millionaires and how they think. And they said one of the things they said in that book was that millionaires always have mentors. That they've always gone to somebody for the answers. And you're so right. This is such a very tough business to navigate that it's mandatory that you have a mentor.
Right. Why start over, right?
Exactly.
If people have gone before you in a similar situation and learned hard lessons, why wouldn't you take those and stand on their shoulders rather than stand next to them and make all the same mistakes?
Absolutely. And it really, we had Tom Dreesen, the Chicago comedian who was our first manager, and how fortunate we were because he helped us avoid a million mistakes that we would have otherwise made being, two 20-year-old kids when we started.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about my Italian friend, Joe.
Joe Bonadonna.
Oh, Joe Bonadonna.
Hey, Joe Bonadonna.
I, of course, would call him, because I'm Italian, Joey Bag of Donuts. Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Who knew?
Who knew?
You know his ma, right?
I know his ma.
Madonna Bonadonna.
Oh, of course. We all hang out in her front room. So
French room.
Their front room.
French room.
All right, so let's talk about Joe and what place he has in all of this.
Joe is one of the producers, and he's an all-around great guy. I mean, he too has fostered a lot of up-and-coming artists, and he's a very good musician himself. So he understands the whole process.
Sure.
He understands what's needed. He knows the whole business end of it, and he's a great talent. I think he's been a hidden talent for a long time, and T- has brought him to the forefront, and he's going to be the face of Nightsphear along with Michelle McCarthy.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you're a very interesting person because you, and of course everyone in the studio is today, but you're also a stunt woman.
I am a stunt woman,
That's
yes,
unbelievable.
Yes.
And for what shows?
A number of shows, mostly Chicago Fire.
And they light you on fire, right? Being the stunt girl?
Something along those lines, yeah. Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
We hope you're being covered by a good insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So, yeah. So, okay, you guys. Now, Ted, they were talking about in your material that you guys are doing like art rock.
Yes.
Is that correct? I mean, define that term for me.
Well, art rock is something that was created when we did our first album, Why. I ran into an artist by the name of Garceau, and he's pretty darn well known throughout the world. He does art galleries, art shows all over the world. And we used his art on our albums, and a lot of times our songs are about real-life situations that Glenn and I have been through. So what we do is we try to use art and pictures and things that we feel as a basis to be able to create music.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And how does that differ from what, and we'll pick up on this after the break, but how does that differ from progressive rock?
Well, we can be progressive at times, but we don't like to put ourselves in any category. Originally, when I came up with the name Thaddeus, I was going to call it Thaddeus. And then Glenn said, well, why don't we call it Thaddeus Project? And that just opened things up for us because we're able to do whatever the heck we want to do at this point.
There you go. I'm Ken Severa. I get to do whatever the heck I want to do, too. I have my own show. This is Part of the Answer. We're on every Sunday at 7 p.m. on AM 560 The Answer, WIND. We'll be right back.
And now, more of AM 560's Part of the Answer, a behind-the-scenes look at some of Chicago's most successful businesses. Once again, here's your host, Ken Severa.
Wow, do we have a studio loaded with talent today. We have Ted Putbris from Thaddeus Project. We have Paul Bolger from Mr. Blotto. We have Michelle Abrams and Daniel LaBelle from T-10 Productions. I mean, these people are just creating a revolution in the music business. You're going to be able to see all of these people Wednesday, May 25th at 7 p.m. at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles. They are doing an event called the Nightsphear Grand Finale. And right now, we're going to have Paul Bolger from Mr. Blotto do a song for us. Paul?
All right.
Whoever said that your life would be easy when all that you got you bore with your soul, and all that you know you learn by playing so long. But in the end, you rock and you roll. It's only blood and bone that heeds the bell that tolls. And your innocence, it goes when you rock and you roll. When you rock and roll, when you rock and you roll.
Whoa. That is awesome. More. Woo, that was awesome, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So this is all coming together. Remember Wire? Not The Wire.
Right, thank you.
But Wire. And remember that on May 25th at 7 p.m. at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, we have the Nightsphear Grand Finale. You can get your tickets at oshows.com. That's oshows.com. And we have anything else you guys want to say before we leave?
Oh, I'd like to thank, Amy Jacobson and Mike Sakoff and, Deb back here at the board. And, of course, you and everyone here, on behalf of everyone. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and thank you so much.
Listen, you guys are creating something here that I think is going to be the beginnings of a great Chicago musical movement, and I am all for this project. Great bands like Thaddeus Project, Fire the Cannon, Mr. Blotto. I mean, you cannot miss. Fire the Cannon is a very young band. You're going to be hearing a ton more about them. Thaddeus Project and Mr. Blotto are very well established in the city, and you're gonna just be having a great time at the Arcada Theater this coming Wednesday, 5/25 at 7 p.m. at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles. So I would like to thank you all for being here today. We had Ted Putbris from Thaddeus Project. We have Paul Bolger from Mr. Blotto, Michelle Abrams, and Daniel LaBelle from T-10. And thank you all for being here tonight.
Thanks, Ken.
My name is Ken Severa, and we were definitely going to be...
Correct, Joe Bonadonna.
And Joe, bag of donuts, Bonadonna.
Joe Bonadonna will be directing.
He's going to be directing this entire
Michelle
thing.
McCarthy will be on stage.
Michelle McCarthy, and I might even come out there. So, yeah, absolutely. We'll see you guys later. This is Part of the Answer. I'm Ken Severa. I'd like to thank all you guys and my producer, Debbie Schreiner, does a great job every week.
Can we go back to bed now?